Hello, welcome back to Crush'em TV. And remember, like and subscribe if you like the discussions and the information that you see here. Arnold Schwarzenegger decided to send out a message to Trump in response to the whole mess with Charlottesville and basically critiquing him and criticizing Trump for his response to Charlottesville. So we'll just, it's about 3 minutes 42 seconds. We'll just get straight into it and go at it bit by bit.
There are not two sides to bigotry, and there are not two sides to hatred. And if you choose to march with a flag...
Not two sides to bigotry, and not two sides to hatred. So right there he's going at him for the several sides, many sides statement. And of course, by saying that there's not two sides, he's implying that 100% of the fault was on the Nazi white nationalists. Now, Trump never said that they were not at fault. He very clearly, several times, reiterated repeatedly, seemingly on deaf ears, that all of them were bad. He even specified white nationalists, white supremacists. But then, when he said Antifa and BLM were also at fault, or even implied so, the left lost their collective frickin' mind. Well, let's just take a look at that. Well, there you go. You got a bunch of these guys raised up fists, right? Now, keep in mind, there were also ads in the Charlottesville paper asking for paid protesters, offering them 16 to 20, 25 bucks an hour. So these guys up here look a little rough. They got some sticks. This is Antifa. Oh, there we got BLM with the flamethrower. Do you think that's okay, Arnold? I mean, you said there's not hate or bigotry or violence on both sides, so yeah, okay, we can see this guy actually at this point looks like he's defending himself, trying to smack away the can in the flame. You know, somebody shoots a flamethrower at me, I consider that violent. Pretty sure you would too, Arnie. Alright, what else we got here? Okay, there we got some of the bad white nationalist guys, but he's just being a loudmouth with the shield behind the cops. He's not trying to smack nobody. What else we got here? Here we go. We got the Antifa guys pushing up on, I don't know, presumably a nationalist or something. It's kind of hard to tell who's who there. Here we go. We've got the Antifa guys with their flags. Alt-right scum, your time has come. A dead frog and a guillotine. Oh, damn, that looks peaceful. There's no fault in that at all, is there? What else? Okay, that's the aftermath of the wreck. Here we go. Condemn all violence. How about we do that, Arnold? Does this look peaceful to you? That's an Antifa guy picking up and chucking an entire friggin' newspaper thing. Who exactly he's trying to hit there? This is one of the pictures that to me looks staged, because there's cameras behind him. There are cameras here. The only person, this guy is possibly a white nationalist, but this looks staged. Antifa, a white nationalist presumably, all kinds of cameras getting good pictures. Keep in mind the Craigslist ads, and the money from every one of those groups is traced to Soros. But you're going to blame white nationalists and somehow try to connect them to Trump. That's a failure of logic. Maybe they didn't teach that back in Austria. Okay, here we go again. We got, you know, I'm not sure who's who there. But anyways, you know, it doesn't look very nice. He's got a stick, something in his hand. He's got a stick. What else we got here? Okay, again, here we got another big standoff. Now, do you notice anything unusual here? We got some, I don't know, maybe white nationalists based on the shields, and here's the pink shields. But what do we have here? All cameras, all cameras. What kind of a fight or battle have you ever seen like that, huh? Use the brain, Arnold. That's obviously staged. You've been on enough movie sets. Or is Hollywood telling you to say this shit? What else we got here? Oh, that's the fake picture somebody photoshopped, so we will go by that. These are the Antifa guys. CNN put it up, trying to claim that those were the white nationalists. That's not the white nationalists. That's Mr. Lion Lemon back behind there. Those are the Antifa guys. And of course they're trying to disparage Trump for saying very fine people. And his only point to the mentally impaired out there that can't get it, his only point, it was not that the nationalists are good. It was not that Nazis are good. It was not that Antifa was good. What he was trying to say was to leave room for the fact that there were probably people there who didn't realize what all those groups were going to do, and they were only there to argue something on a historical basis of whether they thought it should or should not be there. That was his point. It was a common sense point that innocents are always caught up in the trouble in between violent groups. That's a common sense thing, and why you people on the left can't get it, I don't understand that. Here's another picture from another angle of that guy chucking it. Again, you can see all these cameras everywhere. Anyways, here is another. The Antifa guy, no gods something race. I don't know what that's about. But anyways, as you can see, the point is that there was bigotry and violence on all the sides. Antifa's talking about race, BLM's talking about race. That's bigotry, son. White nationalists talking about race. And don't get me wrong, I'm not defending anybody down there. They're all bad apples. But for you guys on the left to sit there and try to pretend that it was only Nazis that were bad or only white nationalists, that's insane. And to try to connect them to Trump in any way is even more stupid and total failure of logic. And here we go.
The slaughter of millions of people. There are no two sides to that. The only way to beat...
That's true. Everybody agrees with that, and Trump agreed with you. That's why he said all sides. He didn't support them. He tore them down. So for you to sit there and pop out this video and make that statement with the implication that somehow Trump was supporting them, that is dishonest. That is being a liar. That is trying to manipulate the public utilizing your Hollywood position, your position in life, to try to make people think different. Now, why would you do that? I don't know, because I always thought you were a pretty conservative guy before. But that little stunt there, maybe you learned that back in Austria watching the Nazis, but that was some psyop bullshit.
The loud and angry voices of hate is to meet them with louder and more reasonable voices. And that includes you, President Trump. In fact, as president of...
Yeah, you know what? There's nothing reasonable about pretending that you don't see the violence on Antifa side and on BLM side. Unreasonable is pretending that innocent people don't also get caught up in between these three violent factions. Unreasonable is ignoring the fact that Soros-funded groups through crowdsondemand.com placed ads in Craigslist and had paid protesters. And not only that, they went on Facebook and Twitter afterwards and bragged about it. And then you numbnuts out in Hollywood and on CNN want to pretend that you don't see it. You're either stupid, retarded, or you're complicit. Take your pick.
You have a moral responsibility to send an unequivocal message that you won't stand for hate and racism.
And that is exactly what he did. by calling out all sides. He told BLM, we're not standing for yours. He told Antifa, we're not standing for yours. He told the white nationalists that they were wrong and that we're not taking theirs. He called them all out. But somehow, in the fucked up minds in Hollywood, you guys see telling everybody they're bad as somehow supporting one of the other group's racism. Now, I don't know what kind of mentally messed up school y'all went to, but that's not the way the English language works. That's not the way logic works.
Let me help you write your speech here a little bit. As President of
that's
the United
demeaning.
States and as a Republican, I reject the support of white supremacists. The country that defeated Hitler's armies is no place for Nazi flags. The party of Lincoln won't stand with those who carry the battle flag of the failed Confederacy. Was that difficult?
Yeah. Now, at the end there, you got to go to being an immature, childish smartass like you're like 16 years old. You know, but being demeaning is okay. I mean, that's alright. And with the stuff that you said right there at the end, that was true. And that's correct. And that's also exactly what came out of Trump's mouth. And if you view it any different, it's probably because of your own racism or viewpoints inside towards other people. Because the words came out of his mouth. He condemned them all. Now, he's not responsible for what you hear or how you hear it. He can't get in your brain and work your logic for you. He's only responsible for the words that come out of his mouth, and the words that came out of his mouth condemned everybody there. If your heart is not tainted with racism or hate, you will hear him appropriately. If, however, you are twisted in the head, as many on the left are, thinking that assassination calls are okay, well, then you might have a problem hearing normal speech because you're too mentally messed up to process anything.
You see, I told you. I have a message to the neo-Nazis and to the white nationalists and to the neo-Confederates. Let me be just as blunt as possible.
Now, I'm going to agree with what you're about to say here about these guys. Everybody in the right mind would. What bothers me about this is that you're absolutely ignoring the violence from Antifa and BLM. Again, being dishonest and lying and pretending that it didn't happen. I already showed you the pictures, and there's worse than that. If you go on to Google, you pull up video after video where every side is guilty of attacking the other one. There are videos of every one of them being the aggressor and doing horrible things and hurting the other people. There's videos of every one of them coming up from behind other people. None of them were innocent. Not one. You know what I mean? And for you to put up these images of only the white Nazi guys as being the only ones that did it, that's dishonest. I absolutely agree with telling them that they're wrong. I disagree with pretending that they were the only ones that were wrong.
You heroes are losers. You're supporting a lost cause. Believe me, I know the original Nazis. I was born in Austria in 1947, shortly after the Second World War. And growing up, I was surrounded by broken men. Men who came home from the war filled with shrapnels and guilt. Men who were misled into a losing ideology. And I can tell you that this ghost that you idolize spent the rest of their lives living in shame. And right now, they're resting in hell. I know that you weren't born with this.
And see, and again, you only show them.
No one is. But the truth is, it's never too late to make the choices, to learn and to evolve, and to understand that all human beings have equal value. If you say, Arnold, hey, I was just at the march. Don't call me a Nazi. I have nothing to do with Nazis at all. Let me help you. Don't hang around people who carry Nazi flags, give Nazi salutes, or shout Nazi slogans.
Yeah.
Go home. Or better yet, tell them that they're wrong to celebrate an ideology that murdered millions of people. And then go home You're so lucky to live in a country that gives you every right to say horrible things. But think about how you could actually use that power for something good. Those of you who have been silent, you must also evolve.
You know, I absolutely agree with you on the statements that you just said. You know, innocent people were there, you know, maybe they could try to say something. However, if you watch the videos, which apparently you haven't, some people did try, and you know what? That didn't turn out very good for them. Those are the guys walking around with the bloody heads. There were people that were calm and normal people that tried to tell Antifa to back off. They got smacked in the head. There were guys that went up, tried to tell the Nazi guys to calm down. They got smacked in the head. You know, it seems to me, Arnold, that you just listened to what somebody showed you, or, you know, maybe you were naive enough to just watch CNN, and you only went with the narrative that you were given, and you didn't actually do any kind of research on your own to looking into the videos. Because if you look into the videos, you will find instances where every one of them is guilty. And, you know, you're right about people being silent being a problem. So why are you silent on Antifa and BLM? Why are you not calling them out? You know, they're putting people in the hospital. They're doing the same things that the Nazis are doing. They are fascists. I say every one of them down there were fascists. All of them. BLM, Antifa, the Nazis, the nationalists, they're all the same thing. They're all racist. They're all hateful. But apparently you guys out there in California, something rots your brain in that sun and you don't seem to get it.
That the only way we can really eliminate hatred is to face it head on. This is not always comfortable, of course, but stereotypes about racism, religion, gender, anything else, they're like cancer. If you had...
Really? You know what? I agree with you. So then why don't you call out BLM and Antifa for their stereotypes that they do on white people? You can find sign after sign after sign. You know, Antifa groans and moans about what they call cis white males, straight white males. And, you know, they say all kinds of horrible, nasty, stereotypical things about them. BLM does the same thing. You know, there's lots of racism coming from those two groups. So why don't you call them out, as well as the Nazis and the supremacists? Why are you living in some fairy tale world pretending it comes from one?
You wouldn't quietly hope that it
cut them all out.
Disappears. You would zap the shit out of it with all the chemotherapy and cut it out and try every experimental treatment until it was gone. But this is no different. I mean, this is a difficult time for our country, of course. But I know that if we all have the courage to do something about it, to do the right thing, we come out stronger in the end. I've already donated some money to the Simon Wiesenthal Center, named after a great Nazi hunter, who I was lucky to call a friend. And I hope that you will join me by supporting your favorite anti-hate organization. Let's all commit right now to leaving the terrible ghosts of the past in the trash heap of history. That's where they belong. Now share this video if you think that hatred has no place in America.
Well, there you go. That's the end of it. And you're right on the end. You know, at the end about those things. But unfortunately, you don't see the fallacy of some of your own points of view and lack of calling people out. You know, we can go back here again. You can see what the Antifa did. Crap. With this right here. That thing's horrible. That flamethrower. I mean, no guilt there, huh? No guilt at all. I mean, no guilt with this, no guilt with that, no guilt from there. I mean, that's threatening death. I mean, seriously? This looks staged. Right here, that looks staged. There's several of these images that look staged. The other angle on that I showed you earlier is severely staged. Everything in Charlottesville is not as it appeared. You know, and before you go and make yourself a national spectacle by trying to go head to head with the President of the United States, you ought to get your shit together and actually know what you're talking about before you talk about it. Go out and look at the Craigslist ads. Look at the evidence that is out there. You're in Hollywood. The office for Crowds on Demand is in LA. Go down there and go find out. I mean, I know your heart is in the right place. At least I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt on that based on your past behavior. But somebody's fed you the Kool-Aid on this one. Or you changed. One of the two. I don't know which it is. I would hope that you're simply temporarily mistaken. But anybody that looks into this with any serious intent can see that, in fact, all three sides were being bad. And there is a very good chance that a significant portion of the people down there in every one of those factions wasn't even real, was paid. And there's one other thing that I wanted to show you, and I nearly forgot about it. Look, this right here. Explain to me why. This is an image from the Denver Post that was blown up of the driver of the car that was taken from the front. It's like the only front image that I could find. You blow it up. This is the kid they accused. Now notice, he's got a very fat, round face and glasses. Take a look at the car. This is a very strong profile. Very firm face, like this guy over here. There was another James Fields that was down in Charlottesville that day. This guy is ex-military. People have dug up some background on him, and he's the kind of guy that would have been involved in a psyop. Look at his profile and the strength of the line of his face compared to this. Notice that the driver of the car does not have glasses. James A. Fields, the kid with schizophrenia that they claim did it, wears glasses. That's not him. The eyes are different. His eyes are deep set back in his head. This guy, his eyes are more forward and shallow, just like in the picture in the car. There's a sideburn here, right by the ear. He doesn't have a sideburn. His is cut right up at the level of the ear. This guy over here has a sideburn that comes down below his ear. Again, the military guy matches the guy in the car. Now, when I first heard about this, I didn't believe it until I went to the Denver Post myself, found the picture, blew it up on my own computer, took a look at it, and got the exact same image that is in this one that I'm showing you now. You can go to the Denver Post yourself as well. This kid is sick and easily twisted. He's got schizophrenia. Now, I don't know where he was or what he did at the time or how he ended up wherever, but you can see from the image of the car, that does not look like this baby-faced kid. The profile doesn't look right. The forehead, hell, even the slope of the forehead. His forehead slopes backwards, kind of Neanderthalish, like where it goes back. This guy, he's got a forehead that goes damn near straight up. Again, look at the picture. The forehead goes almost straight up. Not like this kid. That is a question that needs to be looked into. You know, so there was blame on all sides down there. It's insane that anybody has a problem with Trump saying, you know, the common sense, obvious thing, they were all violent. It's crazy that anybody tries to act like he's supporting white nationalists or Nazis when he called them bad. He said they were all bad. That's not supportive of anybody. You know, and then you got the involvement of Soros, the fact that they were paying protesters to be there, and another thing that I can show you on top of this is not only do you have this image right here that doesn't make any sense, there is an image, here we go. This is a layout of the park. Okay? These are the pens, the red lines are the fences. So what they did before they let Antifa in, the state police are here, and they were over here, they were over there. They let the white nationalists in here, and then they let the Antifa BLM people in here. And so at first they were separated, which you can see in the pictures. You had, you know, the groups that had the permit were in here. And then they were told that they weren't going to be able to go up to the monument, which is over here or here. So they blocked them off. They didn't even make it possible for them to actually get to what they were supposed to get to. So they get in there, and then they get told that they got to turn around and go back. But Antifa was blocking the way. And there were no cops in between them and, you know, any of the groups. So they asked whether they could open one of these little sides and go down, you know, either 2nd Street or 1st Street here, so that they could get away without having to go through Antifa, and they were told no. I mean, this was like a beatdown in a friggin' gang where, you know, you send the other group back through. So they told them, and this is verified by reporters that were on the scene, that they had to turn around and go back out this gate straight into the waiting, angry crowd that was violent, instead of being allowed to jump the fence or go out the back and go down the empty street. And you're going to tell me that's not a setup? The cops were told to stand down? I mean, come on. And instead of looking at stuff like this and looking at the other evidence, you want to get on TV, I don't know, maybe it's for your political career, and run your mouth at Trump. Come on, Arnold. You know, at the end of your thing, you said something about, let's terminate hate. You know what? How about we terminate stupidity? How about we terminate racism towards white guys as well as racism towards blacks and Hispanics and everybody else? Let's terminate it against everybody. Let's terminate a lack of education. Let's terminate speaking and opening our mouths before we go get the facts. How about that? Have a great day, Arnold.